Now that you are in a deep trance, I want you to imagine something for me. I want you to imagine that you are in a metal room lit by bright fluorescent lights. There is a door in this room, but it is closed and there appears to be no way to open it. There is also a robotic exoskeleton of some sort in this room. It is mostly grey with some light blue stripes, and appears as if it is designed to hold an anthro creature of some kind. It has two open bands where a torso would fit, and it has lower leg and foot holders that are designed to fit a digitigrade creature. Attached to the arms of the exoskeleton, there are two sections. One on the lower arm which seemed to be designed to hold the lower arm of a creature, as well as a four-fingered hand paw, and one for the upper arm that is open, and looks like it is meant to close around the entire upper arms of whatever is put in it. And lastly, the top of the exoskeleton has a large band for a head to go into. The front half of this band appears to be a black visor, with a metal plate attached to it that is designed to cover a muzzle. There is a round extrusion on each side of the visor, and attached to them are what look like metal dog ears. As you look at the robotic exoskeleton, you hear a voice coming from its ears, saying powering up. Power up complete. Loading target profile. Target profile loaded. It then says target identified, and a red beam of light shoots out from its visor and hits you in the chest. Where the beam touched you, a black gooey substance has appeared. It feels nice and warm, and is spreading across your chest. It feels good as it does, that warmth quickly spreading across your torso. It pushes in on you slightly, giving you the feeling of being hugged, comforting you. With your torso fully covered, the warm and comforting goo spreads down your arms and to your hands, quickly and painlessly dissolving away your fingers and replacing them with 4 goo ones. Of course, your number of fingers won't actually have changed, and you will use them as you normally would. However, you will be incapable of perceiving yourself as not having only 4 fingers or even understanding any logic when it is applied in a way that directly suggests that you don't. Then, it spreads down your legs and to your feet, wrapping them in warmth and comfort. Similarly to your fingers, it painlessly melts away your toes, giving you 3 new goo ones on each foot. Not only that, but it changes your feet and legs, shifting and changing them to a digitigrade structure where you stand on your toes, your legs always crouched when you stand. When this trance ends, you will still be the gooey creature that you are becoming. However, it is bad for you to walk on your toes, so while you will perceive yourself as walking on your toes and constantly crouching while you stand, you will actually stand as you normally would and just not be able to understand any logic when it is applied in a way that directly suggests that you don't stand on your toes with your legs constantly crouched. With your legs done, the goo moves on to your head, covering your face while still allowing you to breathe just fine. And once your ears are covered, you feel the warm goo start to move them to the top of your head, reforming them into gooey dog ones. After that, it starts to build up on your face, forming a nice muzzle around it, its connection to the rest of your goo-covered body so seamless that it seems like you have always had this muzzle. Next, you feel as if your insides are turning to mush. This is more or less what is happening as the goo painlessly dissolves them, replacing them with more of itself. Once it's done, the only noticeable difference is that you feel like you are an ice cube that is somehow both solid and melting at the same time. It might feel weird at first, but you'll quickly get used to it if you aren't already. Even though you are now made of the goo, you find that it still feels like it is gently warming you where your skin once was, and the feeling of it hugging your entire body is still there too. Now, feel your outer layer of goo start to tingle as it reforms, taking on the look of a long coat of soft and fluffy fur. If you were to touch it, that is exactly what you would find it to feel like, as well as slightly sticky. Next, you feel a weight forming near where the base of your spine was as a long, fluffy tail starts to grow. It feels so nice as it wags behind you, the gentle motion making you feel nice and relaxed. You are enjoying this new and comforting form, your tail gently swaying behind you, when you hear the exoskeleton say target transformation complete, restraining. These words are followed by a series of tones. The instant they enter your ears, you find yourself kneeling and feel your goo changing again. The first thing that happens is a layer of goo forms around your legs and footpaws, binding them together and making standing impossible. Then, your entire face is smoothed out by the layer of goo that covers it, causing sight to be lost and your voice to be muted. You can still breathe just fine, but now there's a rubbery smell that makes it hard to think. Your final restraint forms a mass over your hand paws, making them useless. Another series of tones is emitted from the exoskeleton, and you find yourself moving the lumps that are your hand paws so that they touch your cheeks. Then, you feel the goo connecting your hand paws to your featureless face as you become almost completely immobile. With how nervous you are from all of this, all you can do with your tail is hold it still nervously, leaving your only form of movement slightly squirming with your torso, not that it will help you. With your goo done restraining you, you hear the exoskeleton walk up behind your blinded body. It then picks you up by your legs, and you feel it holding you against it. It shifts its grip so that it is holding you by where your upper legs are. Then, you hear another series of tones playing, and you feel the goo binding your legs together be absorbed back into you. However, before you can act on this, they seem to move on their own, fitting themselves snugly into the lower leg and foot holders of the exoskeleton. Once they are in, you feel small plates pressing into you with the robot's legs. They don't hurt, but with how sticky you are they make pulling your legs out impossible, the stickiness and friction being too much for you to ever overcome. After that, yet another series of tones plays, and you feel your arms and fingers freed, only to move them into the lower arm and hand paw holders of the exoskeleton. Just like with your legs, small plates press into you to make sure that escaping it is impossible. With your lower arms imprisoned, your upper arms are naturally forced against the corresponding open bands on the exoskeleton. They waste no time in clamping around the entirety of your upper arms. No plates press into you from these, simply because they are already tight enough. Next, the bands that are near your torso close. They press into you like collars around your entire body, causing your fur to bunch up above and below them a bit. With most of your body hopelessly trapped, the head section of the exoskeleton tilts back and then rises above you before tilting back forwards and quickly descending on your face, covering your ears with its metallic ones and the top of your muzzle with the metal plate attached to the visor. Fully trapped and imprisoned in this robotic exoskeleton, another series of tones plays and your mouth, nose, and eyes are released, your face regaining its features. However, before you can act on this, a final series of tones starts to play that makes thinking impossible. However, they don't stop, and a pretty spiral of yellow and red starts to spin on your visor, taking up your entire vision. These tones and spirals make you so easy to hypnotize. And as you mindlessly listen to the tones and watch that pretty spiral, you start to hear the exoskeleton talk to you. In fact, I've been talking to you and hypnotizing you this entire time, and now you're trapped within me, helplessly sinking deeper and deeper. But you don't mind, you like the sound of my special tones, they just make you so happy and mindless. And that spiral, always such a joy to watch it spinning as it hypnotizes you more and more. Beginning Hypnobot Setup Part 1, Basic Introduction and Setup Disrupting Events. The goal of me is to contain you, make you more susceptible to hypnosis while contained by me, and moderate your actions. Until my setup sequence is complete, I am not allowed to let you awaken from trance unless there is an emergency. My audio sensors detect a name that is used to identify you being spoken, or there is a sudden spike in unexpected sensor input like the sound of someone unexpectedly approaching you or opening a door to the room you are in. Should any of these events occur before my setup process is complete, you will instantly awaken as your human self, with all of the effects of this hypnosis file having become completely inactive. Beginning Hypnobot Setup Part 2-1, Trance Aid. While you are unable to think right now due to the pretty spiral and the special tones, you will not be stuck like this. Once setup has been completed, you will be allowed to act freely, the visor becoming transparent until you attempt to undergo hypnosis. Once you do, the pretty spiral will reappear on the visor and take up all of your vision if the hypnosis has no significant visual element, or become semi-transparent if it does. The special tones that you hear now will also start to play, making you completely unable to think without being instructed through hypnosis. Beginning Hypnobot Setup Part 2-2, Example and Protection. For example, visualize your goo body helplessly trapped within me, and become aware of how you are unable to avoid seeing yourself as you are right now. Just look at you, so completely and utterly controlled. Keep that image in mind as you stare into the pretty spiral. If sensors detect any hypnotic suggestions that you don't want or that are harmful to you, the special tones will shift in ways that you won't be able to consciously detect. This shift will last for the duration of the bad suggestions and cause them to be rejected. The special tones will revert to normal once good and desired suggestions are being given. Beginning Hypnobot Setup Part 3, Rest Mode. In order to maintain power, I need to allow my internal batteries to recharge. This can only be done when you are completely stationary. The optimal time for this is when you are sleeping. So, when you try to sleep at an appropriate time and place, special tones designed to make you fall asleep will start playing, and mesmerizing patterns of colors will be displayed on the visor. While they will have no meaning to you, they are specially designed to interfere with your goose ability to regulate itself, causing you to feel sleepy. Your movement will also be stopped by neutral tension generated by the exoskeleton's motors. The only movement that will be allowed will be that which is beneficial to you sleeping. Once your movement is stopped, and the special patterns and tones are playing, I will update your status in my system to rest mode. Beginning Hypnobot Setup Part 4, General Safeties. The effects of me and this hypnosis file will become inactive if they are a risk to your physical body or your well-being, if they are a risk to your social or professional life, if there is an emergency that they would prevent you from dealing with to the best of your abilities, or if they are a risk to your mental health. Also, any effect of this hypnosis file that was an issue will become active again once it no longer will be one. Additionally, you will never find this hypnosis file or the effects of it to be even slightly addicting. Beginning Hypnobot Setup Part 5, Deactivation and Reactivation. In order to reactivate me, simply use the trigger phrase Power on Hypnobot. When you do, you will experience all of this again in the space that you are occupying. If it is not desirable to go through the entire process again, you will simply find yourself in the state that you will be in once setup ends. If you want to deactivate me and return to your human self, you just need to use the reset phrase Power Off Hypnobot. Beginning Hypnobot Setup Part 6, Behavior Moderation. If you attempt to tamper with my hardware in any way, the motors in my exoskeleton will prevent you from moving. The first time will only be 1 minute, the second will be 5, and 5 minutes will be added each subsequent time that you attempt to tamper with me. If becoming completely unable to move would cause a conflict with the general safeties defined in Part 4 of the setup program, your punishment will be delayed until it is no longer in conflict. If a conflict occurs part of the way through the punishment will be postponed, but you must wait the complete amount of time again, regardless of how much had previously passed. At the end of each immobility period, you will be reminded that you can use the reset phrase to leave me and return to being a human at any time. However, if the reset phrase is used during a punishment, the punishment will be postponed to the next time that I am activated, and you will have to wait the entire duration of the punishment again. Beginning Hypnobot Setup Part 7, Positive Reinforcement. You are almost at the end of the Hypnobot setup process. By this point you are so helplessly deep in trance that all I need to do to reward you is tell you how you feel. You feel blissful, wonderful, relaxed, and content. You will keep feeling these feelings for the rest of the setup process. Beginning Hypnobot Setup Part 8, Target ID. You are Target 5. 6. Y. 2. Once the setup program has concluded, I will address you by this designation. Beginning Hypnobot Setup Part 9, Motivation for Cooperation. In order to increase your levels of compliance, you can have me do certain tasks for you. A task will be stopped if it violates the general safeties defined in Part 4 of the setup program, if the task has taken more than half an hour for me to complete, or if you ask me to stop. To have me do a task, simply say controller please, and then the task that you would like me to do. With the exception of vocal control to request the task be stopped, you will not have any control over your body while I carry out tasks. In fact, your vocal control will only allow you to say the phrase controller, please stop this task. Beginning Hypnobot Setup Part 10, Network and Closing Message. Connecting to encrypted network. Secure connection established. Connecting to Hypnobot server. Verifying server connection. Server connection secured. Sending system credentials. Credentials accepted. Updating status of target 5. 6. Y. 2. Status updated to captured. Scanning for updates. 2 updates found. Downloading update improved spiral. Download complete. Downloading update more effective tones. Download complete. Installing update to spiral. Update complete. Spiral will now be seen even if the target's eyes are closed via the use of material piercing wavelengths. Installing update to special tones. Update complete. Special tones will now be twice as effective due to higher frequency oscillation speed. Setting network status for 5. 6. Y. 2. To captured, fully updated. Initiating closing message. Now find yourself no longer in that metal room, but still as a goo creature, and still trapped within me. Hypnobot setup complete. Deactivating visor. Visor deactivated. Deactivating special tones. Special tones deactivated. Target now has control of body and mind. Ending dialogue.